Good morning from Maryborough. Have you heard of the world's most famous nanny? Join me as I explore Maryborough, the world of Mary Poppins, mural art and the Heritage Trail. About 250 kilometres north of Brisbane is Maryborough. Apart from Mary Poppins, Maryborough is also known as the Heritage City in Queensland. Do you notice the Mary Poppins signals with the pedestrian lights? Right behind Mary Poppins is the Storybank, a museum which portrays the life of PL Travers, the author of Mary Poppins, who was born and grew up in Maryborough. There was also some history of the building itself, which was originally a bank. The mural over the road represents 17 Cherry Tree Lane, where Mary Poppins worked for the Banks family. What's this? Apparently this is Maryborough's matchmaking machine. A machine it used to matchmake the singles and provide marriage licences. Wonder if that worked. Maryborough Heritage Centre, built in 1877. On the ground floor of this building, the Family Heritage Institute holds one of the largest collections of genealogy records in Queensland. Look at all these. This is walking up Wharf Street. There on the corner you can see the post office and the post office hotel. It's beautiful and quiet this morning. Mind you, it is only about 8 o'clock on a Saturday. This is the post office hotel, which was built in 1889, and over on the other side of the road, the post office, built from 1865 to 1866. Now there's a mural art trail that Maryborough is known for. Apparently you can get the map from the visitor's office. And here's where I want to have a look at around here today. And over there is St Mary's Church. This took a few years to build between 1869 to 72. Which way should I go? I can't decide. The Post Office Hotel started operating in 1870 as the town prospered as a major port. The post office here is the oldest known surviving post office in Queensland. Moments in time. Soak up the history against a backdrop of glorious colonial architecture and riverside parklands as you explore the original port district. The Government Offices building shows the architecture of interwar Georgian Revival style. This style is typical of the high standard of public buildings designed by the government architects prior to the Second World War. There's a few of these up this footpath. Maryborough courthouse. Just up here is Queen's Park. As it's early, there's not many people around. the river that leads to Maryborough Port. And what a stunning view from here. Maryborough was the second major immigration port after Sydney in the late 1800s. Maryborough was declared an official port of entry with more than 22,000 immigrants entering Australia through the port by 1901. And this scum here is the single barrel Nordenfelt, which was originally mounted on Gayunda. The Gayunda wreck is now at Redcliffe. You will see this in another video. The two guns were dispatched to Maryborough about 1911 and, although obsolete, were used as training weapons for the local naval brigade. I can imagine how this was once a very busy river. Hang on, what's this? I can't quite make this out, but I think it says something about Bidwell. Walter Hill, Henry Palmer, and John Bidwell, botanists who contributed to this park. I've got the sniffles. What's this? This looks kind of intriguing. Musical instruments? Wow, this place looks cool. That is so cool. This tree is kind of magical and a bit like a Mary Poppins story. This is the banyan tree. Believed to have been planted in the 1870s, it had its original trunk removed in 1925. The tree continues to grow from its aerial roots, which is probably what gives it an almost magical feeling. It's apparently one of the largest banyan trees in Australia. Banyan trees are often associated with growth, strength, and self-awareness. Okay, I'm tempted. Seems such a shame to make a noise on a quiet, peaceful morning though. Gosh, these are a bit loud. It's been a while since I've played any kind of musical instrument. This place is so cool. Over there is the Maryborough courthouse, looking at it from the other side. Maryborough claims their courthouse is the oldest operational courthouse in Queensland. Look out for trains. It was built in 1877 and is of Victorian Italian style architecture, which drew inspiration from 16th century Italian Renaissance villas. Phew, that was a mouthful. Over there is the Customs House. Taxation on goods entering and leaving the colony was an important source of revenue for the newly established Queensland government. A reminder that the nearby Mary River floods at times. We are back at the Maryborough Heritage Institute. This was the first croquet pitch following the discovery of gold in Gympie. There's some cool mural art. We're back at the Mary Poppins end of the street again now, and the museum is now open.
Anything can happen if you just imagine. If you chase your dreams, you won't regret it.
I chose not to go in today. The price is $16 for adults though, and $8 for children. Customs House Hotel, built in 1868. The hotel was used as a setting for the movie The Delinquents in 1989, starring Kylie Minogue. Up the road is another museum, the Military and Colonial Museum. This mural portrays Uncle Willie, an Aboriginal storyteller and a World War II veteran. I like the look of that wooden door. This is the end of Wharf Street, the Criterion Hotel, originally known as the Bush Inn, built in 1867. In 1889 it added a third story to be the finest hotel in central Queensland. Next to it is the Waterside Workers' Hall. This is just looking up the side of the street we just walked down. What's that annoying noise in the background? The steam train Mary Ann usually runs from here. It's coming from over here. Gosh, now it's noisy. What is that guy doing? Look at the stuff he's got on that boat. I need to get away from that noise. Gosh, finally it's quieter. I can hear myself think again. Well, Maryborough might be famous for the birth of Mary Poppins, well, Mary Poppins author, but it's also famous for something else. Have you heard of the Cistern Chapel? Cistern as in toilet. I've heard it's amazing and something you have to see. Now, something you may not know about Maryborough, it was once a major industrial centre, particularly in rail manufacturing.
Lily Pond Waterfall and Wedding Chapel. Let's go there.
That Maryborough matchmaking machine must be playing with my mind. Do you hear that odd noise? I can't figure out what that is. I'm walking the other way now, quite fast. At the top of Queen's Park is an Anzac memorial commemorating the bravery of the Anzac soldiers. Well, that was a bit nerve-wracking. I came across a homeless person in that wedding chapel. Gave him a fright, but it gave me a fright too. He got a bit angry at me. Gallipoli to Armistice. There's the QR code here. I couldn't get it to work though. This walkway represents walking through the cliffs of Anzac Cove with personal stories of Gallipoli, many of them through the eyes of Queenslanders. Look at this. This typewriter and book represents the letters sent home from the soldiers to their families in the wide bay. She looks very sad and lonely. A soldier with 1,000-yard stare, common amongst the shell-shocked troops. You can see the haunted look in his eyes. As the shells rained down and his life ebbed, a young man asked, "Will they remember me in Australia?" Poor guy, he would have been only a boy. They lost their lives to give us our freedom. Do you think some people are forgetting that now?
Yeah, full of your records proudly tell. And oft your thoughts must wander across that mighty deep to mounds.
That voice gave me a fright after that experience.
And here we are, back again at this amazing tree.
I found some more mural art. Our world. Mary River was known as Munubala by the region's first people and Wide Bay by the first white settlers. The river and the Maryborough name is in honour of Lady Mary, who was killed in a carriage accident. The first country telephone exchange in Australia opened in Maryborough during 1882. Oh, it's getting warm.
South Sea Islanders in Maryborough, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia, Vanuatu.
These men were brought to Maryborough to work in the sugarcane industry in the 1860s. They were often subjected to harsh conditions and discrimination. The Kanaka Memorial in Maryborough commemorates the contributions of these workers. There's that cool-looking Victorian Italianate architecture again. This is a close-up of the Customs House. With the separation of Queensland from the colony of New South Wales in 1859, Maryborough was declared a port of entry. There are many signs around this area explaining the history and significance of the buildings. And there's a few other colourful signs as well. Coffee. It's time for coffee. The Portside Cafe and Restaurant is situated inside the original Customs House of Maryborough. And over here, there looks to be a flood marker. This is a storyboard showing the history of previous floods. Early settlers quickly discovered the gently named Mary River could rage with fury. In the 1800s, she flooded in 1864, 1870 and again in 1890. Now, that coffee. Is there one around the corner? I know this isn't what looks like to be a healthy meal. It's just a snack, and I'll make up for this at lunchtime. The scone and my flat white was delicious. I love those gates. Perfect time to go and look at the Cistern Chapel.
This is the parents' room.
It would definitely distract a baby while changing nappies. This is the small hallway to the ladies' toilet. Maryborough took the humble public toilet and gave it a damn good shake-up, with a cheeky note to Michelangelo's brush strokes on the Sistine Chapel in Italy. The mural art is stunning, however, I'm not sure if it borders on being a little bit too much. This is the men's toilet, and I'd imagine young boys would think this is quite cool. That was a taste of Maryborough. My next video continues Maryborough and my healthy lunch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching. See you soon.